First of all, I would like to say warmly welcome respected judges, lecturer, and everyone here today. My name is Trần and I'm from National Economic University. And today I am very honored to present my round 2 solution for SLOG Challenge 2026. So first of all, I would like to talk briefly about this case. We need to understand that Viet Logistics is already a strong end-to-end logistic provider in Vietnam. It has a broad network of warehouses, distribution center, and local delivery fleet, and it's a major sector such as FMCG, manufacturing, and retailing. However, despite having physical scale and some automation, many car operating decisions are still made manually and based on experience. At the same time, pressure on efficiency, cost, and sustainability continue to rise. So this creates four major complications. First of all is reactive planning. Second of all is inefficient execution. Third of all is fragmented visibility. And last but not least is about cost and carbon pressure. So the core question of this case is how can Viet Logistics redesign and transition from fragmented, manually coordinated logistic operation to an AI-enabled operating model that predict earlier and prepare better, execute leaner with stronger real-time coordination, and scale at lower cost with lower environmental impact. And to answer for this question, I propose the 4S strategy with four main pillars, including sense. At pillar 1, pillar 2 is streamline, pillar 3 is synchronize, and pillar 4 is scale. So first of all, we need to understand the current situation on this company. So this slide shows an important point that Viet Logistics is not weak in terms of business scale. In fact, the company already has a strong market position, broad service coverage, and also solid physical network across major city and industrial hubs. So the problem is not a lack of operation. The problem is a lack of operating intelligence. If we look at the current flow from order intake to planning, inbound handling, storage, dispatching, and so on, we see the same pattern again and again. Planning is still, experience based. Automation is only partial. Inventory visibility is delayed, dispatching remain manual, and tracking is fragmented. And stated updates are slow too. So even though that the company has warehouses, vehicle, people, and some automation, many critical decisions still rely on the manual coordination rather than the predictive and connected intelligence. So based on that, we can diagnose Viet Logistics core transformation gap. So from the current state, we identify four transformation gap. The first of all is about planning gap. Viet Logistics still plan reactively instead of anticipating demand, capacity requirement, inventory exposure, and also assess risk early enough. So that leads to stock out and overstock, late result preparation, and last minute coordination. So the same pattern can be seen with execution gap. The warehouse and transport execution still involve too many manual touches. So it's also lead to something like slower delivery, higher cost per shipment, weaker scalability, and the third problem is visibility gap. Viet Logistics lack one real-time operational truth across inventory, shipment status, and vehicle location. This is why ETA become inaccurate. Stated update are delayed and exception response is too slow. And the last pillar is about the sustainable gap. So the current warehouse and transport operations still consume too much fuel and energy, while green KPIs are not yet embedded into daily decision making. So in short, Viet Logistics does not have isolated operational issues. It's at a broader transformational gap between physical and intelligent operation. And therefore, we based on those problems, proposing the 4S strategy, which the key message over here is predict earlier, execute leaner, coordinate faster, and scale sustainably. So we had four distinct pillar with distinct role. Sense build the predictive intelligence, streamline, redesign the warehouse and transport execution, synchronize, integrate fragmented operational data, and also scale, standardize, govern, and replicate the proven AI use case. So to talk deeply about each pillar, first one is the pillar sense. So for sense, Sense enable Viet Logistics to plan earlier and act more reliably by turning future demand signal into readiness decision, then validating material and asset feasibility before execution. The first hero action is weekly volume forecast for top customer and top transport lane. So instead of trying to forecast entire network at day one, Viet Logistics should begin with the highest priority customer lane and service segment. So the AI role here is AI gonna use the historical order shipment history, some input provided by the warehouse management system, to like provide three main outputs, which are a baseline forecast, a search alert, and a confidence range, with the example as illustrated on the slide. But forecast alone is not enough. Forecast only becomes useful when it is translated into the operational readiness. This is why the second hero action is capacity readiness planner. The planner converts all the forecast signal into weekly readiness decision across dock capacity, labor, fleet, and also the storage space. So it's answer a really practical question such as which site may need additional loading slot or where temporary label may be needed, and etc. And then they before execution begin, I add a final validation layer with two main key layer validate, which are inventory risk alert, validate the material readiness, and also the predicted maintenance scoring. Help us to validate assess the readiness. Move on to the pillar 2. So pillar 2 gonna like if sense is about anticipation, streamline is about cleaner and leaner execution. This first streamline slide focus on the warehouse flows optimization. Today, many warehouse decisions are still manual, so my proposal is to turn operational data into smarter sequencing and execution. Artificial intelligence receive four major data group: auto data, SKU activity data, location data, and resources data. And then the AI gonna help us to power three engines, which are the order orchestration engine, slotting engine, and pick path optimization engine. And then like importantly, the AI here recommend what should be optimized, but the warehouse management system translate this output into the execution by releasing tasks, assigning labor, updating slotting instruction, and also sending picks instruction to operator. So far, we have focused on improving internal warehouse flow. So the next step is to improve outbound accuracy and dispatch efficiency before shipment leave the site. Okay, so we can clearly observe on the slide that this focus on outbound control and dispatch. I introduced the AI-powered quality gate across picking, packing, and loading. Viet Logistics has existing scan-based checkpoint, and the opportunity is to use those checkpoints more intelligently. At each checkpoint, AI can flag the mismatches, missing content, unusual scan pattern, and likely incomplete loading before the truck release. This means the errors are detected before they become service failure. And also, I propose the smart dispatch optimization. Here, AI supports three decisions. The first one is about the vehicle assignment. AI gonna recommend the best truck shipment match based on the shipment profile. The second is about load build optimization. The AI gonna identify the underfilled truck and suggest better load combination to improve the cube and also the weight utilization. And the last decision is about dispatch sequencing by recommending which truck should leave first, wait, and be reassigned based on the urgency. Together, this action improves the outbound accuracy, reduce the half-time trips, lower cost per shipment, and also improve on-time dispatch. Okay, but the important thing over here is leaner execution should not only reduce waste in labor and movement. It should also reduce waste in fuel and energy, and that is what final streamline layer address. So I do not treat green logistics as a separate message in the end. Instead, I integrate it directly into execution. In the warehouse, I propose the green warehouse transformation through four main actions, which are smart energy monitoring, electric forklift transition, rooftop solar pilot, and also AI-based energy optimization. This action gonna help Viet Logistics to reduce avoidable warehouse energy waste, cut material handling emission, and also improve the energy visibility and control. In transport, I introduced the low emission transport execution through electric truck pilot in the short hour, GPS-based fleet visibility, and also AI-based route and energy monitoring. So Streamline is not only about speed and cost, it's also about running warehouse and transport operation in a cleaner and more controllable way. Up to this point, we have focused on planning and execution. Move on to the next pillar is synchronize. Third is synchronize. Today, different team inside the Viet Logistics may look at a different system and see different version of operational reality. Some update are missing, delay, and inconsistent across the function. So the first action is to create one operational truth across Viet Logistics. I do this by integrating master data, transactional data, and live stated events across warehouse and transport operation. Then the AI harmonization layer gonna detect missing milestone event, reconcile inconsistent status across system, infer the shipment stage when update are delayed, and flag stale or conflicting data. This create one internal control tower view so warehouse, transport, and customer-facing team can work for the same live shipment truth. The second action is predictive ETA and delay intelligence. So by that, we're gonna increase the ETA accuracy. We're gonna provide early warning and also minimize the SLA bridges. And the last, initiative is about, exception command center. One relative deviated from the plan. The system turned the disruption into the coordinated action. It detected the exception, scar severity, and etc. So synchronize is not just about visibility. It's about turning the fragmented signal into the coordinated response. So with Sense, with Streamline, and also Synchronize, Viet Logistics can create the real operational data. But the next challenge is making sure that the value does not stay local or temporary. And that is the role of scale. The role of scale is that they turn every output of, below pillar into a repeatable enterprise operating model. And by how? So its role is to take value created by the first three pillars. So in other words, scale ensure the AI use case do not remain local experiments but become the standard line, governance, and expandable across the network. So how exactly does scale work in practice? It works through three mechanisms: deciding what should scale first, replicating what works consistently, and governing value across the network. So the first hero action is value-based rollout wave design. So, Viet Logistics must decide which proven AI use case should scale first and where should be deployed next and what rollout wave. AI supports this by estimating the site level value, scoring readiness, detecting similarity between sites, and recommending the best rollout sequence. And the second hero action is standard playbook and site replication system. And also the third hero action in this case, in this pillar, is AI governance and network value tracking. So after rollout, Viet Logistics must ensure that a use case continue to perform well and continue to generate value. This means that monitoring model health, adoption, behavior, override pattern, and realize the value across the network. So we have, to make sure that the plan gonna go well, we identify five main risks with the impact and the contingency plan to solve each risk that I detected. So basically, we have five major risks, which is data readiness gap at the roll outside, low front line adoption, and excessive override. The third is integration and deployment delay. The fourth is value erosion after go live, and the last one is scaling too early or choosing the wrong use case. So to conclude, Viet Logistics does not, Viet Logistics does not lack of logistic skill. It suffers from a lack of predictive, connected, and scalable operating intelligence. And therefore, my solution is for a strategy. So thank you so much for your time and attention. And I really truly appreciate the opportunity to present today. And I hope and I look forward to the next round. Thank you.